Well, it's Saturday the 25th of February. This is episode 2308 of 301 Permanently Moved.online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded, and edited by me, at the JMO. There was an article in the New York Times this week called "The Next Hot Housing Market is Out of This World. It's in the Metaverse." Subtitled, "Despite the implosion of FTX and projections of a cryptocurrency winter, the Metaverse real estate market is expected to grow by $5.3 billion by 2026. Metaverse real estate is stupid. Let's talk about why it even exists at all. In 2021, I spent a lot of time in the world's first graphical 3D world, Active Worlds. I wrote about my experience in the book Lost Zone, Hiking the Dawn of the Metaverse. I was deeply critical of how Metaverse replicates the worst of American manifest destiny and colonial expansion. Virtual worlds selling NFT real estate today also echo the idea of an empty techno-pastoral frontier to buy and win. At the same time, I was researching under an NDA the history of virtual goods, and that NDA is now up. So let's talk about the links between these two topics. From the very beginning, virtual land has been for sale in graphical virtual worlds. But why, we should ask, was virtual real estate for sale in 1995 in the first place? Is it that Western ideas of property rights are so powerful that it cannot but manifest in the virtual? Or are we in this situation for some other reason? To answer the question, we must go back 15 years before the web was even invented to MUDs. MUDs ran on mainframes, computing environments where memory and resources are shared by all programs running on the machine. Bartle and Trubshaw's MUD1 software was written in 1978 for the University of Essex DEC PDP-10, a mainframe that shipped from the manufacturer with 1.1 megabytes of memory. During the 80s, these machines were connected to the early internet one by one. Very soon after, sysadmins panicked about hundreds of people connecting to the virtual world hosted on their mainframe. Every time a MUD got popular, limits to the total amount of memory and resources allocated to it were imposed. One of the core features of a text-based virtual world is that users can create anything their imagination can conceive. If you can describe it in text, it can exist in the world. From the command line or parser, a user can abracadabra new things into existence. The same interface allows the user to not only explore a world, but create in it, very much like the AI interfaces of today. A note on the digital physics of text-based worlds. Every single thing inside the world is an object, even a player. All objects have three types of information associated with them. Properties like name, owner, creator, location, etc. Attributes. Is this object a player or not? Does this object have a parent or any other children objects? And verbs, which allow objects to be programmed. For example, put object inside another object, put and inside being verbs. So what does all this have to do with virtual real estate? Well, every object in the world takes up hard drive space, and there was only so many bytes of hard drive space to go around. And since it was the 80s, players kept creating 99 red balloons. Different worlds had different strategies for dealing with this problem, but one of the main ones was quotas. LambdaMoo, hosted by Xerox in the early 90s, gave all users 50 kilobytes. If you wanted more memory, you needed to petition an allocation committee. If denied, you were stuck deleting old stuff to make room for new stuff. Simple as that. As more and more people got online in the late 80s and early 90s, virtual worlds became big business. Phone companies bought out MUD developers because dial-up paid by the minute meant a lot of money was being made. And it is ironically the conditions that drove the expansion of the web, local ISPs and free local calls, that created virtual real estate. MUD operators needed to seek new sources of revenue and landed on two options: all-you-can-eat monthly subscriptions or pay for more memory. Many of the MUD designers in the 90s had cut their teeth in MUDs, so these options were part of their toolkit. But unlike MUDs, graphical worlds have more technical constraints on where and what users can create. Build privileges needed to be confined to a designated section of the world for each user. So this is what was being purchased in 95. Designated memory address space on the server. But this is where the metaphorical slip occurred. Buying memory becomes buying virtual land. And thus, the first unreal estate boom began. By 2002, EverQuest had 430,000 players and over $5 million of volume in its auction market, with a gross virtual product of about $135 million. Alongside Ultima and other online worlds, they generated about $300 million in combined real wealth in 2001. Anyone saying that crypto isn't worth anything because it's virtual in 2023 is an idiot. So the sale of virtual land today is a result of memory constraints on mainframes, a solution to a problem that no longer exists, a design pattern that has accidentally become entrenched in virtual world design. It's 2023, and we need to move beyond it.